What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with the Mariners post-game recap. As always, win, lose, or draw. A draw would be amazing because it can't happen, but I'm here to give you guys the rundown of the game. Before I do, as always, if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button for me. Appreciate everybody that subscribe and watch these. And hit the like button for the video as well. That just lets more people know, or lets YouTube know that you're enjoying it and other people may enjoy it as well. And then head over to my channel page and check out the membership info. Our next members only live stream is coming up in just a few days. Mariners lose 6-3 to the Reds. They've lost back-to-back games. It's been a while. I want to say Baltimore, when they lost the series, was last time this team lost back-to-back baseball games. So it's a little unfamiliar. Just dug too deep of a hole today. Got down 5-0 after the second inning. I actually thought they battled back. They had some chances. Despite getting down 5-0 early, they had some at-bats in this game where a base hit here, a base hit there, and they might have won this thing. Gino had an at-bat in the 7th with 2 on and 2 out. Julio came up with the bases loaded in the 8th, and then Julio again with runners at the corners in the 9th. Both times for Julio as a tying run, and they just couldn't get it done. I want to point out Marvin Hudson was awful today behind the plate. That's not the reason the Mariners lost the game. But Marvin Hudson was terrible. And, that call to Julio, the strike three was a strike. That was there. But someone pointed out in my stream, I think it was Jeff, thank you for pointing it out. It's also the inconsistency because that second pitch to Julio that also was a strike was called a ball. But then kind of the similar pitch is called a strike. So, and he had one to Gino that he missed blatantly. There was one to Mike Ford earlier in the 9th inning, the 2-0 pitch that was not a strike. Again, not the reason they lost. I have never, ever been a believer that a ref or an umpire has cost a team a game. The teams cost themselves games. But, man, Marvin Hudson was terrible. But who else wasn't very good tonight? The Seattle Mariners were not very good, along with Marvin Hudson. Let's get into it. We'll go through the pitching, the box score, the offense, everything. Then I'll give you my takes as usual. Bryan Woo was not good today. 5 innings, 4 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, 3 walks, 3 hit batters, no strikeouts, and a home run. So essentially, if you want to count walks and hit batters the same, 6 free passes with no strikeouts. That's not going to cut it in any league that you're playing in. To Bryan Woo's credit, after giving up 5 runs in an inning and a third, he battled to go 5 and helped save the bullpen a little bit. So I'll give him the nod on that he battled through it and at least gave the team 5 innings so they didn't have to use any of their top bullpen arms. So, that was good and good to see him rebound, but not good enough. Not good enough. And I talked about, if you go back and watch my stream that me and Rooftop did, one of my concerns in September, or one of the keys for me, was Bryan Woo and Bryce Miller down the stretch. 2 young arms that weren't expected coming into this year to really be key pieces are now being relied on to get you some big wins in September baseball. When you get to the playoffs, I don't think it's going to matter as much because you can almost go just Kirby, Gilbert, Castillo. And I think Bryan Woo could be really effective out of the pen against righties because he's dominated righties, struggled against lefties. Again today, line up with 5 lefties. He kind of struggled against everybody today. But, just not good enough. It's one of the reasons myself, some other people thought this team could have maybe made a move for another starting pitcher. Again, not so much in the fact that I think another starter would have made this team so much better, but just takes a little of the pressure maybe off these guys. Now, Woo was fantastic his last time out. I know it was against Oakland. It was still a great start. So hopefully he bounces back here and pitches well next time out, which will be actually he'll start the next homestand, I believe, against the Angels will be his next start. So not good enough today. Certainly not going to win a lot of starts with no strikeouts and essentially 6 walks if you want to look at it like that. Saucedo, 2/3 of an inning, gave up a hit. Nice job by Luke Weaver to go 2 1/3. 3 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 1 walk, 1 K. Don't really care what Luke Weaver's line looks like. Nice job to save the bullpen. Everybody should be available tomorrow except for Luke Weaver. So that's the good thing. And Luke Weaver deserves credit for that. He saved the bullpen. And like I said, even Bryan Woo, to an extent, I'll give him some credit for battling and going 5 when he clearly was not at his best. Kind of an interesting day for the offense. They started out terrible in the first 2 innings. Antone, the opener for the Reds, I thought was really sharp. But as the game went along, they had some opportunities, and they just could not get that big hit. 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. It felt worse than that. I know they didn't have a lot of at-bats with runners on, but it definitely felt like they left a lot more. JP was 1 for 4 with an RBI. He had the base hit in the ninth, which brought the tying run to the plate. Julio did hit his 25th home run of the year, was 1 for 5. Unfortunately, we could have used that 25th home run in his last 2 at-bats. It would have been a little more timely to have it then. But obviously, wasn't enough. So Julio, gets the home run, but unfortunately left some guys on there in the 8th or 9th when you really need that clutch base hit. Teo was 1 for 4. Canzone 1 for 4. Gino was 0 for 4. Now, I thought there was a call in that at bat in the 7th that Hudson, like I said, missed, but Gino is just scuffling. He's playing a great third base. I'll give him the Gold Glove. I will. But I think he just needs a day off, maybe 2, just to get, I don't want to say get his mind right, because Gino's a professional. He's knows how to handle his business. But he's just scuffling right now. And it's not like Gino's lining out and hitting a lot of hard contact. He's just not getting bat on ball at all. He's working himself into some okay hitters counts, just doing nothing with it. And man, does this team need a hot Gino streak. We talked about them needing a hot Teoscar streak, a hot Ty France streak. They need a hot Gino streak. Even when Gino was struggling a little bit earlier, he was still coming up with some clutch hits. So you kind of forgave it a little bit. But Gino's got to be better. Ty France was 1 for 4, had that hit in the 9th. Is there any human being in the world slower than Ty France? How did he not beat out that grounder in was it the 8th? I think it was in the top of the 8th. I mean, it went off the pitcher. It goes off the second baseman's steer, bounces off him and away. De La Cruz got one of the strongest arms in the game. But De La Cruz picks it up, fires over to first, and they get tied by a legit step. Not even a bang-bang play. Ty France is the slowest human being in the face of the earth. Now, I didn't see the play again from Hid's angle, if he was hustling or not. I'm not going to accuse someone of not hustling when I don't see the play. I think Ty France just really slow. There's a conversation to be had in the offseason about what to do with Ty France, because what you're getting from him right now is not good enough. Now, as far as this season goes, the Mariners are in the middle of a pennant race. Ty France is your best option at first base. You just need Ty to play better and hope he does. But there's going to be a conversation in the offseason. Mike Ford, 2 for 4, an infield hit and a home run. Good to see from the F350, Mike Ford. His 15th home run. He's in a bit of a hot streak right now, which is good to see. And he should have been in a 3-0 count that 9th inning, but unfortunately, yeah. Rojas was 0 for 3 with a walk. Brian O'Keefe was 0 for 2. Cal Raleigh pinched hit for him, was 2 for 2. Man, this team misses Tom Murphy. Nothing against Brian O'Keefe. Sure, he's a good kid. He's up there fighting. I think he's actually been pretty good defensively. But man, there is no bat there. And it just, in games like this, because you have to give Cal a day off occasionally. Cal can't even get a full day off because he has to pinch hit for O'Keefe. And the Mariners aren't winning these games 13-0 or losing them 13-0, where you just let O'Keefe take all the at-bats. The Murph needs to get healthy. And I don't know how far away Tom Murphy is. I don't think he's playing yet or began baseball activities. Man, do they need Tom Murphy back. Not only do they need him back just to help the catching situation, but they also need him back because you can have Cal DH. Murphy can catch. You could have Ford play some first base if you're Ty France is scuffling. You could have Canzone play some first, stuff like that. You can get some other guys out of the lineup as well. So need Tom Murphy back. And truthfully, if Torrens can get his feet underneath him in Tacoma, bring up Luis Torrens. Now, I'm still pinch hitting Cal Raleigh for Torrens, but at least Luis Torrens has some offensive capabilities. But yeah, it's tough when O'Keefe's in there. Nothing against him. Good kid. He's fighting. I wish him the best, but, need a little bit better production from that. You went from one of the best catching duos in the league to just Cal not being able to take days off at all. They fought back. I'll give them the nod. I mean, they got down 5-0 and they didn't quit. They got a couple solo home runs and they had chances. In August when they were rolling, they were winning this game. They were coming back. They were getting that big base hit. In August, Julio gets a base hit in the 8th or 9th, or Gino gets that hit. Just a little bit here the last few games, they've been scuffling. They've lost 3 out of 4. It was going to happen. It doesn't make it good. It's not a good thing that they've lost 3 out of 4. But you got to find a way to get through this. And the key is to not let it spiral. Get back in there, get a W tomorrow. You can still win this series. The Mariners have not played their best baseball the last 2 series, in my opinion. I didn't even think they looked that great against Oakland. Now, they also lost George Kirby in that game. That hurts. But they found a way to win the series. The Mets series didn't look great, but they were close to winning Friday and found a way on Saturday. And today, they played pretty poorly, still had some chances to get in this one. Hopefully tomorrow, Bryce Miller can be on his game and going up against Connor Phillips, former Mariner prospect, make his major league debut, and you can find a way to get the victory. Starting pitching's got to get a little better. It's in a little bit of a funk too. The offense hasn't been great, but Wu, Castillo, and Kirby not great the last three starts. Hopefully Bryce Miller can right the ship for them tomorrow. When you're in a little bit of a funk, usually a nice start from your starting pitcher kind of seems to be the thing that gets you out of it. So hopefully they can do it. I'm not hitting a panic button or anything. If some of you want to, I know I had some people yesterday that were very, very frustrated. I get it. I do. And if you need to vent, my comment section is for that. I have no problem. But listen, it's going to be a crazy September. They're going to, I think, I at least hope we all knew there was probably going to be this stretch. They went 21-6 in August. You're going to have a stretch where you're just not going to be playing great baseball. They hadn't lost a road series since since June. They lost one in New York. This was going to be a tough road trip. This is a road trip that I thought 6-4, 5-5 was not the worst thing in the world. Houston beats Texas today 13-6, so you stay in first place by percentage points. Toronto does beat the A's, so they're starting to creep up a little bit in that wild card race. Now, if Texas keeps losing, they're the team that gets passed. Let's check out the standings real quick here. Percentage points, the Mariners still in first, and tiebreaker-wise over the Astros, still in first. Wild card race, Toronto's a half game back of Texas, which puts them a game and a half back of you, which essentially puts them 2 back because they'd have to pass you because you have the tiebreaker. And Toronto's got some easy baseball coming up. They got Oakland and Kansas City. Mariners are going to have to win some games. Like, they got to get it turned around. They're in a little bit of a funk. I'm not hitting any panic button yet, but you don't want to start letting this get to the point where it's, losing 4-5, 5 out of 6, 6 out of 7. Don't want to get to that point because eventually, and you got to protect that wild card a little bit too, worst case scenario. Still in first place, try if you can to reset yourself and tell yourself that going into September 5th, if I would have said the Mariners would be in first place and showed you the standings, you would have signed up for it back in June, July. It stinks they've lost 3 out of 4. You're playing teams that are fighting. The Mets are probably not as bad as their record. Since he's fighting for a wild card spot, they're going to play tough. They're going to play tough. You'd love to win a bullpen game. That's kind of frustrating that you couldn't do that with the opponent having a bullpen game. But you got to battle back and find a way tomorrow and still win this series. Still have a chance for a good road trip here. Like I said, they're fighting it a little bit. You can tell they're certainly not playing as well as they did in August. And hopefully they snap out of it tomorrow and get the ship right a little bit because they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not, it's not dire straits here with losing 3 out of 4. It's not ideal, but, bounce back and get the win tomorrow. So frustrating game, kind of got out of hand early. They, like I said, they battled back to their credit, made it interesting there in the 8th and 9th, just couldn't get that big hit. Hopefully some of those rallies spill into tomorrow. Cincinnati's bullpen, hopefully, that had to work very hard today. So maybe you can take advantage of that tomorrow and find a way to get the W. So we'll see what happens. I'll be here tomorrow for the post-game show. Thank you all that have subscribed, commented, liked the videos. Truly appreciate it. Thank you all and have a great night. As always, go Mariners. You're still first place Seattle Mariners. I will tell you all to still take a deep breath on everything. Last thing I'll say is they've lost 3 out of 4 and they're still in first place. So yes, if they would have won these 3 out of 4, they'd have a bigger lead, of course. But the rest of the teams aren't playing that great right now either, to be honest. Another thing I'll say too is, I was typing this in the live stream. It's a little bit different this year. I think last September, as much as they were fighting for the playoffs, they weren't going to win the division. They were too far behind Houston. And I think we all kind of knew they'd stay ahead of Baltimore last year. I think they had like a 4.5 game lead. So you felt pretty secure with the playoffs. This is going to be a little tougher because the wild card is tighter and you're still in that division race. So this September is going to be even crazier. So buckle up. They're going to win some games here. They're going to get it turned around. They're too good of a team not to, in my opinion. Hopefully. So we'll see. Have a great night, everybody. And as always, go first place Mariners. Peace.